Hi, everybody. Welcome to Infinity Podcast. And I'm so grateful and happy to have lovely Anna Begas with us. Recently, Anna joined our Infinite Being Academy teacher crew, and she's going to teach about herbs and the wisdom of plants. And yeah, I'm thrilled to have you. And I worked with you, Anna, already in the Detox International, and we know each
Yeah.
other many years. And I appreciate you very much as an amazing healer, therapist with so much knowledge, wisdom. And I know that something comes from who knows where. But from what I talked to you before, you told me that you felt you have something all your life. So now it's, I guess, coming out and coming out and coming out, and we are so blessed to, um, to enjoy it and to
Mm.
share it with other people. So Anna, maybe you can introduce yourself a little bit.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me and also having me in the Infinite Being Academy. And the appreciation goes from me to you as well. Yeah, I'm really appreciating our contact and you as a healer and therapist and as a being, as a friend, yeah, and as a teacher. So yeah, my name is Anna Begas. I'm a healer and a bodywork therapist, and I also work with deepening contact to nature with the plant spirit world. And yeah, as you say, lately all these different been working in are kind of coming together, and that fruit is going out into the world.
Beautiful. How blessed we are. I know in my case, and I believe in yours as well, maybe there were like a moment in your life that you felt, yeah, this is my direction, or something kind of came up and told you, I have to go this way. Maybe you can share this kind of moment, because I believe that many people had this moment, but maybe they didn't follow it, or they followed a little bit and let it go. So how is it for you? When did you realize your gifts?
Um, yeah, it's such a long story for me. It's not like a one, I had a car crash, such many different on the line on the through my life. I I think a lot of time I found my yes, like yes, this is it. I found it, especially when I was younger, because I just was, um, I just happened to have a kind of a rebellious character. So I felt a lot of no when I was younger, like puberty and in my the no's. The no was, towards society, towards learning and science. And so I felt a lot of no. And so I tried to do often the opposite. And I didn't know it at the time, but in that opposite, I found my yes. So rather than following mainstream ideas of what I should do after high school, go to university, I kind of always had this bit of rebellious energy. So I didn't do what was expected of me or what I felt was expected. And I went other ways, which was traveling. And I wanted to see the world. And I spent a lot of years working and traveling. And that really helped me, I think, find what was right for me, which I found a lot in other cultures. I found a lot in nature, and I was just unconsciously, actually, at that time, but I was just following breadcrumbs of where is happiness for me. Yeah, what makes me joyful, because it's not, I don't find it in what I'm being, this packet I was being offered of, within the society I grew up in. So what was it? So I found that through other ways of living, through other societies and cultures, and especially in contact with with the plants and with nature. I can say some examples, of course, but I was just following breadcrumbs all my life, and then starting to learn and study just really what I felt I wanted to learn for myself at first. And then, of course, it felt so good to me, like, for example, learning about healing, learning about herbal medicine, learning about energy work. It felt like, yes, this is it. I'm so interested. I enjoy this. And then, of course, naturally, that I wanted to also give that out.
So maybe you can describe more, because first when I knew you, you're more into Ayurvedic massage and more, let's say, body contact. And from what I know about your work now, it's become more energetical, especially now when we work more online. So I want to ask you about this transition, because I found it in myself as well. How was this transition from, since you started to discover that you have tendency towards healing, maybe spirituality, what was your steps?
Yeah, I first learned, just herbal medicine, as herbal medicine really focusing on the body. And then I also learned, like, in a body focused way, massage. And I started working with massage first of all, and I just felt something's missing. And that's when I went towards Ayurvedic massage, because already I was interested in Ayurveda and their energetic system and a few of things. And there I started to realize, okay, I'm working with the body because that's my way in. But actually I'm working a lot energetically and emotionally, and the energetic work of working with the energetic body, like they teach in Ayurveda, like the chakras, and we have a lot of pressure points, and you're really working with energy. I felt that's a very fast doorway to actually reach. And so I started to work a lot with trauma, and focus the massage on trauma, the different reactions or the different responses we have to trauma. And of course, the memory is stored in the body, but I found the faster way to make changes in day-to-day life is through our energy. I just resonated a lot with that doorway in, so to say. And I think because I was also opening up my own energetic awareness, so my own energy field and my own the reality behind everything physical. I was becoming more aware of that, more consciously aware. And then I realized, well, it's a sea. We're living just in a sea of energy, and actually a very fast way of changing and moving and healing is to engage with that sea energetically.
So
And I think that's...
Can you tell me a bit of your experience working in trauma? How do you access, or how do you combine between information stored in the body, and information you access through energy work? How do you make this link?
I think they're not so separate, because obviously the body is energy as well, and it's just maybe expressing in a denser form. And so when, let's say when I meet a client, I usually catch the energy. I feel it. And so we start to talk about something that they're struggling with, and I often help the person to maybe feel that in the body. But there's not just a feeling in the body. Maybe you have pain around the chest or the heart or another area of the body. There isn't just that. There is a whole energetic picture around that, or movement around it, and I usually catch that as well. And so I think working with the energy doesn't exclude working with the body. It's both at the same time.
Beautiful. And could you feel that your work is more suitable for specific type of conditions? Is it more for trauma, or I don't know, or what kind of trauma? Do you work more with women or with men? How do you work?
Yeah, generally the people that come to me are dealing with some kind of trauma, and I think that's very universal. We're living in, we live in quite a traumatized world if we look collectively, and if we look at what's happening to the earth. And so I work mainly with women, and I work a lot with highly sensitive people, women a lot, but also men, but mainly women come to me. And so highly sensitives, like myself, many of the issues evolve around feeling a lot, and many of those issues evolve around picking up a lot of information. So partly you're feeling a lot because you have your own past and your own triggers and your own trauma, but partly you're feeling a lot because you're actually so sensitive that you just pick up what is, happening in the people around you, or happening in your community or in the collective. And that can be very confusing. So there can be confusion, there can be feeling of not being grounded, there can be a feeling of not being able to have focus or resilience physically.
Okay.
Besides all the human, issues that we can deal with.
Yeah. And I understand that you develop a specific program now to support people in communicating or doing personal inner work using plant. Could you talk more about this program?
Yes, definitely. Yeah, so I noticed that for myself, the connection to nature is really, really important for me to feel my belonging and to feel my connection to the world. And that's what keeps me grounded and resilient and being able to focus. So I started to bring that more into my healing work, because I feel there is a sort of like you take care of the roots of a problem, and then the rest will take care by itself. And the roots are often our disconnection, especially in our society. If we speak about trauma that happens to us or trauma that we inflict on others, the cause is often disconnection. And we've been taught disconnection in our society. So I'm working at this root level of connecting ourselves again, and that is connecting ourselves again as being nature. So
just 1 minute, Anna. Can you describe what disconnection means?
what this connection means, I think the feelings that are experienced with what I call disconnection is you feel lonely, you feel not fully embodying yourself or your soul journey or your soul path, not really knowing what it is, maybe confusion. So maybe there can be a disconnection between the mind and the body, the mind and the heart, but there can also be a disconnection between myself and the world I'm living in, or myself and the other, the separateness,
Yeah.
seeing myself as separate.
So, what is the process that through the plant medicine you're supporting in reconnecting?
Yeah, so this contact with nature, I find it's very an easy way in to actually connect to the plants as energy and as beings, as well as being alive. So this program that I call Immersion into Plant Communication, the online course, it takes you through a journey of, first of all, really embodying yourself in the present moment, in your body, but also in your energy field, and then in your surroundings. And then it's basically opening your mind and your heart to looking at the world around you as being alive. And from there, you will be called by a plant. So everybody works with a different plant, and it always happens magically. And you will start to build a relationship with this plant as a holistic being. So as a being that you can communicate with, that you can receive healing and guidance from. And that process goes through different ways of observing, different ways, intuitive and sometimes more physical, or looking at the plant itself and the actual physical medicine itself. And it takes you through steps. And we express ourselves and everything that we learn through creativity, like drawing and painting and maybe movement or music or whatever resonates with you, until you really embody the plant medicine. So speaking of what's called plant spirit medicine or plant consciousness, and you start to really embody that. So it starts to really add to your energy, and that is basically energy healing.
So basically you're saying that each plant embodies a certain quality, and when we interact with that plant, and in a way we slowly recognizing that quality within ourselves, it can accentuate that quality within us, and then this quality, which has a healing potential, act as a healer within us.
Yeah.
Is it like this?
Yeah, it acts as a healer, and we become ourselves the healer, or we start to embody, like we become our own medicine woman or man. We start to embody that medicine, and from there you get just like with energy healing, life starts to change because your energy is changing. So different doors open, other ones close, or maybe you start to act differently, or you start to have different insights. It's a healing process, and the plant is constantly informing you. And that process of being in this intimate relationship with a plant, it's not just a relationship with the plant, it opens up that kind of relationship with nature, with the world where we're living in, and that brings a deep grounding and a sense of belonging, a sense of really knowing who I am through this kind of contact and through relating with another.
Beautiful. So it means that inside us there is the whole plant's kingdom is inside us.
Yeah.
Do I need to establish a certain relationship with a plant? Or I can say, I would like now to embody rosemary energy, and then I feel rosemary inside, or I would like to embody thyme, or I'd like to embody palm, or anything.
Yeah.
Say like this, that I can choose to embody a certain quality, and then this quality will teach me. It's already in me because I'm in everywhere, and everything is in me. So I just have to ask for that quality to start to manifest. Can we say like that?
Yeah, and I think the deeper you know the quality of that other, the deeper that goes. So when you spend 6-7 weeks with rosemary, for example, you get to know many layers of rosemary. You get to know really a depth of this medicine. So then when you embody it, you're really, embodying a deep medicine. And once you learn that process with rosemary, for example, you can apply it with any other plant or any other being. You can apply it also with elements. It's just that the plants are really willing and easy way in.
Now I live by the sea,
Yeah.
So the sea is also, you can say, a being like a rosemary, but it's a sea.
Yeah.
So it can teach me also the same, and a lot, I believe.
Yeah.
Same principle, no?
Yeah.
So you can do it with a mountain, or you can do it with a river, or anything you want, with a rock.
Yeah, I had a lot of when I started this program the first time, I was connecting a lot to rocks and stone because where I lived was very arid and rocky. And yeah, it's medicine as well. I mean, stones and rocks are medicine too.
So what define medicine? Because we living, we're living quite urban most of in the Western world. But what defines something as medicine? We can walk by rose garden or rosemary plants. What will make it a medicine versus just a plant?
For me, it's that contact and myself opening up. Like I can just walk by a rosemary and hardly see it and think, oh, whatever, there's some herb growing, or call it a weed or something. Or I can actually stop and take it in, and then it starts to change my energy, and it gives me or informs me of something that I needed in that moment. So it informs me of the flavor of love that is most beneficial for me in that moment. And that makes it, to me, it makes it medicine.
Uh-huh. So what makes a difference really is to stop and listen.
Yeah. And I think communication with plants is not so much about I sit and talk to the plant. It's actually I listen. And um, in that exchange of me really paying attention to the plants and listening, and it means feeling, no?
Yeah.
I really sit and feel. I get to feel the plant, but actually the plant also wants to know about me. So I start to also, through that contact, I start to feel parts of me that maybe I wasn't aware of.
Mm.
So just to give an example, like this in August, we had a retreat of plant communication, and the plant who taught us, like the teacher of that week, was comfrey. And so when you sit with comfrey, because it's a very, very deep medicine, physically it goes to the bones. So energetically, I feel it goes to the bones of, it goes to the depth, really. So when I sit with comfrey, and when the other participants sat with comfrey, we were just stopped in our tracks of being busy, having to-do list, I'm now doing this and that. And suddenly we had to feel what was underneath the particular medicine of comfrey. So really feeling maybe grief, or maybe discomfort or fear. And so in me really feeling comfrey, I start to feel also a part of myself that I was trying to escape or I wasn't aware of in that moment. And then by sitting with comfrey and engaging with this energy that comfrey is, or we can call it a being, then slowly, because comfrey is very slow, so then it started to teach regeneration. But first we had to sit with the grief.
Yeah. So, because when we had the land, comfrey was quite for me a weed. If I
Yes.
don't cut it, it will overtake the whole garden. So,
Yeah.
and I felt that if I wanted to maintain the garden and the whole land in a good shape, I need to stream. I had to block that sensitive part of me, not to listen what the tree said when you go with a chainsaw and you cut a branch of the olive tree because it's time for pruning.
Yeah.
So how do we manage that? That in a way, in order to survive in this artificial world that we created, because in the jungle there is no that problem. You live with the plants, you live with that. You don't cut them, you don't burn them. But in our world, we need to, in order to kind of maintain everything manicured, we need to do like this, to work like this. So what's happened with that, When we stream, when we cut, when we prune, when we burn. I mean, I just imagining what the plants feels horrible.
Well, maybe life and death in our minds is different from the bigger picture, because we eat plants, we cut them all the time and they feed us, and we die. We take longer time to die. Not with some trees, we don't. But when we die, we compost as well. And when we eat the plant, we leave the compost again back into the earth. So maybe it isn't always that dramatic as we think, of like, oh my God, I killed a plant, because obviously we have to be functioning in the world, and we cannot only eat the fruit that drops from the tree and then, we have to maybe prune the tree, or pick the fruit, or buy the fruits in the shops. But I think maybe when you're owning land and you need to prune because you need the tree to produce more olives, it can still be done in contact with the tree, in cooperation with the tree,
So it means
and
that
in
also
gratitude, especially.
So here it's the same as you said, gratitude. You say it means awareness, basically,
Yeah.
communication and awareness. So
Also,
that.
just to say, if you cut comfrey by the root, it sprouts up a lot more.
Mhm.
So it says something about comfrey medicine as well. The resilience, you can cut it by the root, but even a little bit of this root will form another plant if it has water and the right circumstances. So it tells you something about that medicine again.
Yeah. Okay. So I hope many people will come to learn from you. But even those who doesn't come but just listen to this interview, maybe you can give them a few tips that will help them in their life with the plants or anything you think.
Yeah, I think what we touched on before, like it's about listening. So because of the way our lives are and the society we live in, we often are very busy. You know, a lot of things to do in a day, and but if we can on a daily basis go outside, or even just if you're living in a city, you can look at the sky, or there's always some tree to find somewhere, and or some dandelion growing out of the cement. If we can throughout our day slow down and really come into our body and into our energy field, because really to feel, to listen to the plants, you need to kind of really come down. You can't do it when you're up here,
Mhm.
and you need to like really, your energy needs to sink. You
Mhm.
need to feel your feet on the floor again. You need to like be heavy on the bottom, so to say, in your energy field. So if we can just do that daily, if possible, and just notice a rose in somebody's garden, and just take those few minutes to connect and feel it, and open up with your mind and your heart to all those beings around that are actually living medicine. I think that makes such a big difference, because you have like little moments in your day where your energy shifts.
Mhm.
And that's what energy work is. It's like a repetition of making energy shifts. It's not like you do it once and it's done. You have to constantly remind yourself, all right, I align myself, I embody my energy field. And yeah, just to take moments in the day to connect and to listen, to feel the world that I'm part of. That's a really good start.
Maybe you can give an example of people who went through your program or clients of yours and how this work with plants medicine helped them.
Yeah, I have a lot of examples. Yeah, a dear client, and who became a dear friend of mine as well. She worked on this program. She works with spruce tree, and through the contact with the spruce tree and the medicine, that this is like our traditional Christmas tree. It really, really connected her to her feminine ancestral line, and that started to cause a lot of shifts and healing and yeah, transformation in her life, to the point that after like a decade or more of moving around and traveling and working and in different places and moving around, she actually felt the call back to her roots and moved back to her home country. And there was a lot of healing in her feminine line with her mother and sisters. Um, that was just the start of her journey. She keeps on connecting to the plants, and she keeps on having the plants as her guidance. But that was a huge shift that she was not anticipating, but actually she needed that. A lot more abundance came into her life, a lot more flow into her work life, and a lot more stability into her being. And let's see another example. Yeah, just recently, for example, working with the comfrey with a group of people, where we all picked up on that comfrey is very serious. And one of the clients, also a lovely client who yeah, I consider as my friend now, she was really brought to face her fear of the dark. And so comfrey has this really deep root. It goes to the deep layers of the earth. So we get in touch with our own darkness, so to say. And for her, it was literally fear of the dark. And she said that throughout the days that she was connecting to comfrey, she was more and more feeling herself like further away from the fear. But the first step was really to become really aware of that fear and where it's coming from and what it's doing in her life, to the point where she could, in the end, be with the fear. And so obviously that's what makes the fear less, no? Just to be with it, just to breathe with it, and to have patience and sit with that in kindness with yourself. So there were shifts there, just in 5 days.
Amazing.
Yeah, do you want more
No, it's enough. I'm sure it's right. I'm
examples?
sure it's powerful. There's no doubt about
Yeah.
it. And I'm sure in your personal life you're also experiencing it. I must say that for me, you're fascinating the way that you can manage being a mother, you know, for two lovely children, and you know, working and thriving. It's amazing. I really appreciate your power.
Thank you. It's fascinating me at some points how I do it, but I have to say, I think the plants have been calling me so strongly. Actually, when I became single mom of 2 kids, then I couldn't ignore that call anymore, and it was because I needed it so much. I needed to feel supported. I needed to feel constantly come back to my grounding and to knowing I'm resilient and to knowing that I'm not alone. And still be able to be on my path, because since, like I said, I was always quite rebellious, and it was important to do my path, no, what my soul wants to express here. And I couldn't do it without this contact with nature. So I think that's why I actually do what I do, because I need it so much myself.
Yeah, beautiful. So if people want to join the program, I know they can go through your website. Could you want to say what's your website?
Yes. Can I write it down in the comment? There's also a link tree
We'll
website.
edit. We will edit to the.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I have linktree/Anna Begas, and there you can find the link to the different courses. And you can also find me on annabegas.com.
Beautiful. And then through the Infinite Being Academy courses, people can also find your course now. That's great. Anna, thank you so much for joining.
Thank you too. Yeah, one last thing. If somebody feels like they are thinking about it, it's not really clear whether this is right for them or not, I also offer some free calls. That's on calendly.com/Anna Begas. Maybe we can give that link as well. But just so you know, there's that option to just have a talk with me and see if it's right for you or not.
Beautiful. Okay, we'll give all the link beyond underneath.
Great.
Thank you for joining, and
thank you so much. Yes.
Have a beautiful day.
You too.
We keep on flying.
Yeah. With our
Bye, my
feet on
dear.
the ground.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. Thank you.
Sure.